All right, let's dive into this because it's a big moment in Tennessee politics. And honestly, it's got some fascinating layers that go beyond just the headlines. So, Marsha Blackburn, the U.S. Senator, just clinched the GOP nomination for Tennessee governor. On the surface, it's a significant win, but what makes this really interesting is the broader context, both for Tennessee and the national political landscape. First off, Blackburn's victory isn't just about her. It's about what she represents in a state that's become a stronghold for conservative politics. Personally, I think this win is less about her policies and more about the trajectory of Tennessee itself. The state hasn't had a Democratic governor since 2011, and Blackburn's campaign leaned heavily into that narrative, positioning Tennessee as the conservative leader of the nation. What this really suggests is that Tennessee is doubling down on its identity as a red state, and Blackburn is the face of that movement. Now, let's talk about her campaign messaging because it's a masterclass in tapping into the current conservative zeitgeist. She's all about Trump's America First agenda, cracking down on immigration and eliminating wasteful government spending. But here's the thing. These aren't just policy points. They're cultural signals. When she says she won't let Tennessee become New York or California, she's drawing a line in the sand. It's not just about politics. It's about identity. And that's a powerful tool in today's polarized climate. What many people don't realize is how much this race is also about symbolism. Blackburn could become Tennessee's first female governor, which is historic. But here's where it gets complicated. Her opponent, Jerri Green, is also a woman and the first female Democratic nominee for governor in the state. So, no matter what happens in November, Tennessee is getting its first female governor. From my perspective, this is a huge moment for representation, but it's also a reminder of how deeply divided the state is. Now, let's talk about Jerri Green for a second. She's got an uphill battle, no doubt. Tennessee hasn't elected a Democrat to the governor's office in over a decade, and the state's political leanings are pretty clear. But what's interesting is her messaging. She's focusing on affordability, public schools, and pushing back against out-of-touch extremists. Personally, I think her campaign is a long shot, but it's also a test of whether there's any room for moderate or progressive ideas in a state that's become so solidly conservative. One thing that immediately stands out is how much this race is tied to national politics. Blackburn's campaign is all about Trump. She's even pledged to work with his administration. And while Trump didn't officially endorse her in the primary, his shadow is all over this race. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a microcosm of the larger battle between Trumpism and the Democratic Party. Tennessee is becoming a testing ground for how far that conservative wave can go. Now, let's talk about the primary itself. Blackburn was the clear favorite from the start, but it's worth noting her opponents. John Rose tried to position himself as the non-career politician, which is a fascinating tactic in today's anti-establishment climate. And Monty Fritz ran on a small government platform, which feels almost nostalgic in today's GOP. But Blackburn's brand, her connection to Trump, her bold rhetoric, her national profile, was just too strong. A detail I find fascinating is her campaign video where she crumbled fortune cookies to symbolize cracking down on China. It's such a specific, almost bizarre choice, but it worked. It's a reminder of how much modern political campaigns are about visuals and symbolism over substance. And honestly, that's a trend we're seeing everywhere, not just in Tennessee. So what does this all mean for November? Blackburn is the heavy favorite, but elections are unpredictable. Green's campaign might not win, but it could lay the groundwork for future Democratic efforts in the state. And regardless of who wins, Tennessee is at a crossroads. It's becoming a symbol of deep red America, but it's also making history with its first female governor. This raises a deeper question. What does it mean for a state to be a conservative leader in 2026? Is it just about policy, or is it about something bigger, like cultural identity and resistance to national trends? Personally, I think Tennessee is becoming a case study in how far one side of the political spectrum can push its agenda. So, here's my closing thought. This race isn't just about who wins in November. It's about what Tennessee stands for in the 21st century. Is it a state that's closing ranks around a specific vision of conservatism, or is there still room for other voices? That's the question I'll be thinking about as this election unfolds. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below.